Yeah, hey Trey, can't believe already it is week 4 back here in our PTN studios in beautiful Northwest Arkansas. Evan Camico alongside Razorback legend Peyton Hillis. Peyton, first of all, can you believe it's week 4? We're already a fourth of the way in the season.
Yeah, it's gone by really, really fast, and but it's been a lot of good, a lot of good vibes from Arkansas so far. I mean, they got a lot of things going, and got a lot of things to work on. But as far as everything's going, I mean, it's looking pretty optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. We're early in the season so far. Like you've mentioned, there's a lot of positives to talk about, right? This offense looks spectacular. Bobby Petrino has everyone rolling. We'll talk about that in a few. But let's start on the defensive side of the ball. Last week against Ole Miss, 525 yards of offense for the Rebels with a backup quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss. Your thoughts on the Arkansas defense after the first game in the SEC?
There's no doubt about it. Ole Miss has a high-power offense, just like we do. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When their quarterback got hurt, the second-string quarterback got hurt, and I was like, well, I didn't know the first string was going to come back in. And, he played a good ball game, limping. But, I really thought that at times our defense showed up, especially, in the fourth quarter there. I thought they showed up very, very well. And, with this next game coming up against Memphis, I feel like, we've got to create some negative plays on first and second down. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got to, because, they're averaging about 50% on third down. And honestly, they have a great running attack, a really good balanced offense. So, if Arkansas is going to, win this game or hopefully win it handily, they need to stop, get negative yards on first and second down and try to stop the run.
I love that you mentioned negative plays. Arkansas, one of the worst third down defenses in the entire SEC. It's bad, and it's bad because you saw it how easily Ole Miss was able to pick up some of these third and long situations that even Arkansas would put them. But at the end of the game, they did, to your point, get the stops that the Razorbacks needed to get the offense back out on the field. But I want to ask you as a former player, when you see your defense out there and you see some of these issues that we've seen with tackling in the secondary, where can you improve on that? What can your defense do to get better and clean up for another week?
I think everybody else saw there was a lot of mental errors, especially on Saturday. And, usually that starts at the coaching level. Make sure your guys are on the same page. Make sure they get the call. I know that we're in a time where the offense is up tempo, try to get the ball snapped. But, if we get on the same page and try to play a little bit more man in the field and get some pressure on the QB, I really feel like we can have a good game this Saturday.
Yeah, Cam Ball, Quincy Rhodes Jr., who's getting a little bit healthier than he was last week, and Phillip Lee, all going to be really important in this game. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball, a little bit more of your forte. Before I ask about the running backs, I got to ask about Taylon Green. Is there a moment where we can just say, yeah, he can keep them in the game every single week? What's been impressive about QB1?
Honestly, with Taylon Green, there's really not a lot there that you can say, hey, this needs to be worked on or that. But I also think it's a big mistake to feel like your quarterback's going to get you out of every situation. Mm-hmm. Because, week to week, depending on what defense you play, and especially now after Memphis, we're potentially playing top 25 teams the rest of the year. And so, if you're going to depend on him to try to stretch it out with his legs, try to get the first down, to try to make a play, even if the pocket collapses, you're going to need to try to solidify a running game, try to get something stable on the running game, to try to get the defense off guard and just not focus on Taylon Green the whole game.
I love that because that's exactly where I was going to go. It seems like Arkansas, especially in the running game, they can get explosive plays. We've seen Mike Washington break a couple long runs. Braylon Russell has that ability. But how can they be more consistent with that running game for long, sustainable drives so you're not just getting explosive play, touchdown, ball back?
You've got to work on it. Washington, he's raw. He's very raw, but he can potentially be a great running back. But you got to use him. You got to, get in the game and say, hey, guys, we're going to try to run the football. If we get stopped the first couple of drives, we still got to run it to take the pressure off of Taylon. That's got to happen. And, Memphis this week, I'm a little bit worried only because, if they beat the Razorbacks, they got USF and they got Tulane, and those are very winnable games. They can potentially make a playoff spot if they win out. And so that's what I'm thinking if I'm Memphis when Arkansas is coming into town. So, with their running game and their passing game, them being balanced, if our offense don't try to slow down the clock, get some chunks, it's maybe a problem.
7.5-point spread for Arkansas in their favor. Is this a trap game like you kind of mentioned with Memphis being 3-0?
I don't know if I believe in traps if you're prepared. And I would think that any team, any player is prepared for every game, no matter who you're playing. Mm-hmm. Try to put forth your best effort. But, you're playing in Memphis to a team that is very good. They beat Troy 28-7, and Clemson barely pulled it out, and Clemson's got a good defense. Mm-hmm. Memphis has a lot of potential especially in the conference they're in, to make big waves. And
Absolutely.
that's what I'm kind of worried about.
Absolutely. Should be a very fun game. Trey, we'll have a little bit more coming up later in the show, but for now, let's send things back to you. Yeah, thanks, Trey. It's been the conversation of the town all week. Hunter Yurachek's comments at the Little Rock Touchdown Club on Monday. Peyton, curious for you. You're a player, right? Put your mind in the minds of these current players. You hear an athletic director say they can't compete to win the whole thing. Where does that take you? What do you think of that when you hear an athletic director isn't backing the team fully?
Well, I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, but as a player and as a coach, that shouldn't bother you at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what people think. You go out there and try to do your best. With the whole situation, I mean, he did tell the truth about a whole lot, but how he said it was a little difficult and kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And so, with this, I think the guys really have to come out and just take it one game at a time. I mean, they have a lot of great things going, just improve week to week and just forget all the news and what people say.
Yeah, Sam Pittman said earlier this week he wasn't really thinking of that, but when you put yourself in Hunter Yurachek's shoes, why make a comment like that?
The only thing that comes to mind is just honesty. I mean, maybe he was just being honest. Maybe he didn't understand the question, exactly the way he needed to answer. But, there's no other way but honesty for, in my mind, why he would say something like that. I mean, I don't know about any ulterior motives he might have, but I mean, to me, that's really what it is.
And look, the fact of the matter is a lot of what he said, to your point, is true. We've reported that Arkansas hasn't have the NIL that other schools in the SEC does have. And it's a struggle, right? You're trying to find the balance and trying to find all of it. But do you feel that maybe this is the beginning of the end of this tenure? Or is that, I know we don't want to speculate anything.
I'm not going to speculate, but let's just get one thing straight. It's money's a big part. I get it. But it's not the all-in be-all of anything. I mean, look at Vanderbilt. Look what Indiana's doing. Look what Illinois is doing. These people don't have a lot of money. You know what I mean? They're consistent at recruiting, and they'll get the guys that fit their system, and they work with them, and they'll try to get them out. I mean, NIL is probably a headache for everybody, but as far as banking saying, hey, it's all about the money while we're not winning, that's just a cop-out. That's an excuse.
And you look at Indiana, like they found a way to be competitive when, maybe nobody in the entire world thought they could be and could do it. And that's the thing for Arkansas. And Arkansans are sitting here thinking, man, that could be us. Why is it not us? So curious as an Arkansan, when you talk about the money, we talk about all of this, where does your head go as just a fan right now when you hear comments like this and think about the people who spend hard-earned money every single weekend to go watch the Razorbacks play and compete for a national title?
For what was said, I understand where, all the fans could potentially be upset. But, in the position that we're in now, we got to look at the positive and we got to move forward with it. Because, that's in the past, and we still got a lot of football ahead of us. The one thing that I've always thought Arkansas has missed over the past couple of years, or few years actually, is an identity. Is an identity of who we are and what we're going to do to you, where you put it on film and say, hey, come out and stop it. Let's stake something. If that is we're going to spread the ball out and, click it and dunk it and try to scrape at their feet. But let's dig our feet in the ground and let's try to make something of ourselves instead of week to week being on our heels thinking, oh, man, what are we going to do this week? The defense struggled last week. There's no consistency in our game right now.
And before we go, you played for Houston Nutt. Houston Nutt had an identity when he was here. Is there a chance maybe he comes back through all this? Where's the potential with your former coach?
With Coach Nutt, the great thing about Coach Nutt is in any situation or any position he can have at the university, he's going to do it 110%. And why is that? Is because he loves the state, he cares about the Razorbacks, and he wants to win. And if anybody's ever met him, I mean, there's no way you can't like the guy. He's just that type of guy. He could recruit. I mean, he was just that type of guy. So, if there's a time or a situation where he can come in and do that, I would be very happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Peyton, big thank you as always for joining us on the Game Day Show. That's going to do it for us in the studio. Trey, let's send things back to you again.